Imagine waking up in medieval Europe, and within a few months, half the people you know are dead, not sick, not missing, dead. This actually happened in 1347. It's called the Black Death. And the crazy part, if I was alive back then, I think I could survive it. 1347, Europe is just vibing. Trade is booming, cities are growing, people are out here living their best medieval lives, and then, out of literally nowhere, ships start docking in Sicily from the Black Sea. But these aren't normal ships. The sailors on board either dead or covered in these horrifying black swollen lumps. Authorities tried to send the ships away, but by then it was already too late, because the bacteria wasn't traveling alone. It was riding on fleas, fleas living on rats, rats living on ships. So basically, medieval trade routes were just the plague going on a world tour, and nobody bought a ticket. The Black Death killed between 30% and 50% of Europe's population. That's not a typo. Half of Europe at its peak. Some cities were losing 7,000 people per day. Imagine your entire neighborhood disappearing in a week. Cities like Florence lost around 60% of their population in a single year. London, Paris, Constantinople, completely devastated. Now here's the wild part. People had no idea what was happening. Germ theory didn't exist yet. Bacteria, nobody knew. Sanitation, medieval cities were dumping sewage straight into the streets. So their survival strategy was basically vibes, pray harder, burn herbs, blame random groups of people. None of it worked. Okay, brace yourself, because this part is disgusting. So you get bitten by an infected flea. You don't even notice. A couple days later, you start feeling sick, headache coming on, then fever, then chills, then you're basically cooked. Your lymph nodes and in your armpits, groin, neck, they start swelling. We're talking golf ball size, sometimes bigger. These are called buboes. That's where bubonic plague comes from. Imagine a golf ball under your skin that's hot, rock hard, and filled with bacteria. Yeah, not ideal. If the bubonic form didn't get you, there was pneumonic plague. That's when it hits your lungs. And that version spread person to person just by breathing near someone. No fleas required. The mortality rate for untreated pneumonic plague?
Near 100%.
Okay, so everyone blames the rats, and like, fair. But the real villain wasn't even the rat. It was the flea on the rat. Here's how it works. The flea bites an infected rat and ingests Yersinia pestis. The bacteria multiply inside the flea's gut until it basically gets blocked. Now the flea is starving and desperate. It bites you, but because it's clogged, it vomits the bacteria directly into your bloodstream. You got infected by flea puke. Welcome to medieval Europe. And medieval cities were perfect for this. Garbage everywhere. Animals living inside houses. No sanitation. Basically a flea paradise. So the real question is, if you were alive in 1347, could you survive this? Honestly, most people couldn't. This is what you came for. Here's my actual step-by-step plan for surviving the Black Death. No cap. Historically backed. Let's go. Step 1. Get out of the city immediately. Cities were basically plague speedruns, crowded streets, shared wells, zero ventilation, rats everywhere. The moment you hear the word plague anywhere near your city, you grab your stuff and you leave. The rich people who fled early, a lot of them survived. In fact, Boccaccio's Decameron, a famous book from 1353, is literally a story about wealthy Florentines who fled to a villa in the countryside to wait out the plague. Rural isolation was the OG quarantine. Step 2, avoid the fleas, like aggressively. If fleas are the delivery system, you need to defund the fleas. Stay away from rats. Don't let animals sleep in your bed. Keep your clothes clean and change them regularly. This alone would have massively cut your exposure risk. Also, avoid markets and crowded gatherings where rats love to hang out. No touching dead animals. No touching dead people. That sounds obvious now, but in 1347 people were just dragging corpses around. Step 3. Isolate before everyone else does. Here's the thing. Some medieval authorities actually figured this out. Venice in 1377 introduced one of the world's first official quarantine laws. Ships arriving from infected areas had to anchor offshore for 40 days. The Italian word for 40, quaranta. That's where the word quarantine comes from. 40 days of isolation. Sounds familiar, right? The places that quarantined aggressively, they survived better. Milan implemented early lockdowns and border controls. Their death rate was notably lower than other Italian cities. So the playbook is leave early, avoid fleas, isolate hard, simple, brutal, effective. But here's the part of the story that actually broke my brain. Some villages barely got touched. There's a famous example, the village of Ayam in England. In 1665, during a later plague outbreak, the entire village voluntarily quarantined itself to stop the spread. They ordered their own isolation for over a year to protect the surrounding towns. That's insane levels of discipline. And it worked. Also, and this is genuinely wild, the Black Death may have had a genetic silver lining. Some researchers believe that people who survived passed on mutations that provided resistance to certain diseases, including potentially HIV. A gene variant called CCR5 delta 32 is more common in European populations. Some scientists think plague survival pressure contributed to this, so the Black Death didn't just kill millions of people, it literally changed human genetics. It reshaped the economy. It destabilized the feudal system. Peasants who survived could suddenly demand higher wages because there weren't enough workers. The plague accidentally kickstarted early workers' rights movements. History is wild like that. So yeah, surviving the Black Death was brutal, but not impossible. If you enjoy learning random things like this at 3 a.m. with me, hit subscribe.